to chase down by the dead ball line, edge of the penalty area, rolls it back to Xhaka to hit, and there's a chance here, and Willian has got a chance, and Lacazette has turned it in, and Arsenal lead with just 8 minutes played. Rather scruffy finish in the end for Alexandre Lacazette after Willian had a chance to mark his debut with a goal. Fulham managed to block the first couple of efforts on their goal, but it ran kindly for Lacazette, who scored twice here on his last visit to Craven Cottage 2 years ago, and has given Arsenal the perfect start.
Yeah, it's good movement, again forward movements, missed header by the Fulham defender, it comes out to Aubameyang, he plays a ball back, it's a difficult one, but Xhaka just swings his left foot at it. It's a decent strike considering how the ball coming at him. It's a bit of a muddle in there, I think it's poor from Ream, he misclears his clearance, and it's a great save, I have to say, by the keeper Rodak, and then it just falls kindly to Lacazette, and it's a good finish in the end, but they could have dealt with that better. I thought Ream should have done better with the initial shot from Xhaka.
Yeah, Marek Rodak got no luck at all there. He made a really brave and acrobatic diving save to deny Willian, but having managed to throw his massive frame in the path of that shot, he watched helplessly from a prostrate position as it ran kindly for Alexandre Lacazette, who's been preferred in the Arsenal front line to Eddie Nketiah today.
Fox in the box.
Scores his first goal of the season, 12 last season, not prolific. Mikel Arteta was talking up his future yesterday, but there has been speculation he's been linked with both Atletico Madrid and Juventus in the last few days, Lacazette. Yeah,
top finisher, you know, and he is a fox in the box, and they're the kind of goals that he scores. But he missed a lot of football as well last season through being substitute.
Here's a chance for Fulham with Neskins Cabano, after good work by Cavaliero, able to aim a first-time volley at goal, which was immediately blocked, but it was a sight of the Arsenal goal for Fulham and a good response. Kenny on the ball just outside the centre circle inside his own half of the field, rolls it back to the towering figure of Michael Hector, square to Ream and then out to Bryant. Fulham just looking to settle back into the top flight, and immediately shaken by Lacazette's early goal for Arsenal. Will they be shaken and stirred? You're listening to Fulham 0, Arsenal 1 on TalkSport with Now TV. You can watch Liverpool versus Leeds United live today with a Now TV Sky Sports Day Pass for $9.99. Search Now TV for details.
Decent little sight of goal there for Cabano. He struck it well. It was blocked, but it was good technique. Watch the ball, watch the flight of the ball. Good technique, hit the target. Promising that from Fulham.
Holding on the ball for Arsenal, just outside his own penalty area. Fulham 0, Arsenal 1. Lacazette right on 8 minutes. Holding again. Going square again to Gabriel, who's made a rather tentative start to life at Arsenal. I can tell you a little bit about Gabriel Magalhaes. He is a Brazilian who's played just 40 games in the French top flight, £27 million move from Lille during the break, and Arsenal do have one or two issues at centre-back at the moment, notably with David Luiz joining the likes of Mustafi, Chambers, Pablo Mari and Socrates, all injured at this present time.
Just a little bit scruffy with his passing, you know, it's bobbling rather than it being nice and flat on the surface. Just needs to tidy that up a little bit, and Arteta will be all over that, because I know that he's really kind of meticulous about that kind of thing with his patterns of play.
Gabriel, a Brazilian, remember, did tweet earlier this week that he's learning every day from David Luiz, which was a message which received mixed response from Arsenal fans that I've been speaking to. Learning from David Luiz, eh?
I think he's took responsibility for me, especially since Arteta came in. I think he's been a good leader. He's always been a good dressing room player. You know, he's been very popular with his teammates, but I feel he's grown up a little bit, and he seems to be taking a lot more responsibility since he's been at Arsenal.
Arsenal 1-0 up and on the attack with Xhaka. Square to Holding, 15 metres inside Fulham territory. Goes back to Granit Xhaka, who's now on the halfway line. Assesses the options ahead of him and instead comes back again to Gabriel. Square to Holding. Looks up under pressure from Cavaliero and goes back to Gabriel. Square now to Xhaka. Looking to caress the ball, a high chip ball into midfield. It's a poor one, cut out by Kearney. Reed's on the ball for Fulham. Cavaliero back to Reed. Now into the path of Onoma. Out to Cabano on the right touchline, midway inside the Arsenal half of the field. Support from Dennis Odoi. Comes back to Kearney on the halfway line. Careful, cultured Fulham builder, but no real penetration as yet. Hector Square to Ream. Brian always available on the touchline, but Ream goes back to Michael Hector. A Premier League debut at 28. For Hector today. Harrison Reed now over the halfway line. Onoma gets his head up and tries to coax the ball forward towards Cavaliero, but Gabriel rises from the ground and heads clear and finds Willian. Bellerin now being invited to come forward over the halfway line, down the Arsenal right, goes back to El Neni on the halfway line. Gabriel seeing plenty of the ball on his debut. Square again to Tierney, exchanges passes with Xhaka, comes back to Holding, who reports suggested was about to join Newcastle United on loan before David Luiz suffered the neck injury. Still an Arsenal player. There's speculation about one or two players in Arsenal blue out on the field today. Lacazette amongst them, trying to force the ball on to the edge of the penalty area where Maitland-Niles couldn't control it. But Holding wins it back for Arsenal, and Aubameyang is now on the ball 10 metres outside the penalty area. Square to the goal scorer Lacazette. Square again to Bellerin, and now on to Willian just inside the Fulham box. Drives it across the face of the goal. It's deflected, headed away by Tim Ream, and as far as El Neni. Willian again on the attack for Arsenal. And then he comes all the way back to the halfway line, and Holding very considered in their approach, as always, Arsenal.
Yeah, probing, recycling the ball, very typical of how Pep Guardiola's team play. You can see that kind of style of play is demonstrated with Arteta.
Towards Bellerin, just inside the Fulham penalty area, cross beyond Aubameyang. Maitland-Niles will keep the move alive. Dead ball line, left hand side. Try to run it back to Xhaka. It's easy to see by Reed. He couldn't retain possession, and Tierney has it back for Arsenal. Just inside the Fulham box, slow cross. Odoi reacted and just managed to clear his lines, but Fulham was stretched again there. Cabano trying to find a way out of trouble on the far side, but Arsenal get the throw in midway inside the Fulham half of the field. We're looking across Craven Cottage to the two youngest managers in the Premier League, Mikel Arteta and Scott Parker, both the fresh-faced side of 40, no worry lines, few grey hairs, no need for reading glasses to scribble their notes yet. 30 Premier League matches between them as managers, first seasons in charge from the start of a top flight campaign. The aging process begins here for both of them.
Great situation there. Bellerin got the ball on the right hand side, level with the 18-yard box, and he just overcooked his cross a little bit. Aubameyang was free on the far post, and you could see Aubameyang's face thinking, if only he just took a little bit out of that, I was in.
El Neni out to Bellerin again. Arsenal coasting forward with Menes crossed in towards the head of Aubameyang. It's run for Maitland-Niles on the far side of the penalty area. Good work by Hector, who gets in his way and manages to clear his lines, and Fulham will have the throw in down by the quarter flag on the right hand side. Chris Cameron, the referee, has just stopped play for the moment to listen to some instructions from Stockley Park, having his attention drawn to something by David Coote, but happy for play to continue. We have new rules for the new season. I know they're laws, not rules, more tinkering with VAR and handball, new advice, new interpretations, but don't worry, all the old controversies and arguments, I'll take you through one or two of the updates when we get a stoppage in play, but for the moment Fulham have forced the issue down their right hand side and are in an attacking position here, but they trail 1-0 on Game Day on TalkSport. Alexander Lacazette's early goal for Arsenal after 8 minutes. Fulham 0, Arsenal 1. There's live football in the Championship on TalkSport 2 at the moment, St Andrews, where it's Birmingham City 0, Brentford 0. Fulham coming forward with a Doyle. It's a good cross under a lot of pressure from Maitland-Niles. Challenge seemed a little bit late as the cross came in. Cross itself was well delivered. The referee's not interested in giving a free kick, although Adoy is just climbing very gingerly back to his feet. No complaints from the Fulham right back.
Yeah, it's a poor challenge that from Maitland-Niles. He's missed the ball completely. It's a good cross in by Adoy, but he's left a little bit on Adoy as he's put that cross in too late, and the referee's missed that one, Kavanagh.
Fulham still on the attack though, on the left hand side now, with Kearney finding Bryan. Crossed into the box, is deflected, and the deflection was kind for Arsenal because it carried the ball into the grateful hands of Bent.
Just on his heels a little bit there, Kamara. I think if he anticipated that cross, he could have possibly got across to that and got a little nick on it. Good ball in by Joe Bryan, but well received by Leno.
Bellerin coming forward for Arsenal, looking to link up with Willian, but Bryan gets in the challenge. One or two of those headline changes. The human arm has been redefined. The upper limit of handball is now what's loosely referred to as the t-shirt sleeve line. Contact with the shoulder is not handball anymore. That ruling about accidental handballs leading to goals has also been amended. The offence has to be immediate to the goal being scored for it to be disallowed. I know, define immediate. One change leads to another million questions. And VAR, well, that's going to be used to check that goalkeepers keep 1 foot on or above the goal line at penalty kicks. And more interestingly, I think referees will be encouraged to use pitchside monitors more to look at what they call subjective decisions, matters of opinion, red card challenges, penalty offences, debatable goals.
I think that's what we wanted, that last one you just mentioned there, Clive. You know, referees, if they're not sure, don't rely on somebody in an office. Have a look at the screen and make the decision yourself, because you're the one who's accountable for the decisions that are made.
It is the man in the referee's ear, though, the VAR, who will still offer a clear and obvious error view, and no Premier League referee has yet gone against the opinion of a VAR who has summoned him to the monitor in those situations yet.
Boys Club.
Careful. Premier League back on TalkSport, back on Game Day, and it's Fulham 0, Arsenal 1, with 20 minutes played here in the first of our 3 live Premier League commentaries today on Game Day from Craven Cottage. 20 minutes of the first half played. Harrison Reed in possession for Fulham midway inside his own half, just upended by Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. The other change, finally, we're back to 3 substitutions from a 7-strong bench, and no water breaks unless the temperature rises to 30 degrees. It's nice in London, but it's not that nice. Here's Lacazette just inside the box, and there's a chance for El Neni, and it was blocked by Ream, and in the end it came out to Xhaka, who had a bit of a slash at it and sliced it well wide, but there was a chance for El Neni.
Yeah, good chance. I think Joe Bryan gave the ball away cheaply. He tried to flick it around the corner in the left back position, where he should have took responsibility on the ball for me and kept hold of it, maybe stuck his backside out and protected the ball and looked for a pass. He's flicked it, he's given the ball away. Willian's put a ball in for El Neni. It's gone into Lacazette, who's back-heeled it towards El Neni. He's took a touch, got it out of his feet, and it's a decent right-footed shot, but it's well blocked by Ream. Good defending.
Well, then his first touch with his left foot just to give himself a shooting chance was very good indeed. The right-footed side foot shot carried any real belief. It's not
I think it was in if it wasn't blocked. I think he'd wrong-footed the keeper, but it's great defending by Ream.
Onoma out to the right hand side in Cabana as Fulham come forward, trailing by 1-0, just in from the touchline. He does have Adoy in support of him, his fullback, and he plays it back to Adoy now, but he has to come back again to Reed. Square to Kearney in the heart of the Arsenal half of the field. There's a tangle with Lacazette, which goes Fulham's way because Lacazette's challenge was awkward, although it was Lacazette who went down injured, holding his face. I think Kenny just tried to fend him off. I don't think there was anything malicious.
Yeah, he has caught him in the face. I don't think it's anything sinister, but like I was just talking about Joe Bryan, he didn't have a pass on, so rather than just playing it anywhere, Tom Kenny, using his great knowledge and experience, he put his body across, put his arm out just to protect the ball, and he won the foul. But obviously Lacazette took one in the face as well for trying to close him down. Insult to injury, because the free kick went Fulham's way. It's almost in the very centre of the Arsenal half of the field. There's no real angle on it for Harrison Reed as he assesses the options, and the options are there because Hector has gone forward to the edge of the penalty area along with Odoi. Doesn't reach either of them though, holding away. It's followed by Kenny. There's an offside flag up on the far side, and some relief for Arsenal, who lead by a goal to nil. Lacazette after 8 minutes. Rob Holding did really well there defending for Arsenal, got himself in a position where he could get across, because it was a bit of a mismatch at the far post between Bellerin and Hector, the central defender for Fulham. I think Bellerin's about 5'8", 5'9", and Hector looks like one of the tallest players on the pitch, so I was quite concerned when that free kick was being taken, but Rob Holding got across really well to defend that. Michael Hector, Virgil van Dijk as they call him here at Fulham. He has a little bit of the Van Dijk look about him. He has his dreadlocks up in a tied bun, and he is a very commanding figure, looking down on the rest of us from a very high height. Free kick to Arsenal inside their own half of the field. So far so good for Mikel Arteta, who's smart casual in the sartorial stakes today. Scott Parker marking the return of Premier League football to Craven Cottage in a jacket and tie. Arteta in a very traditional from Scott Parker. Good to see too. Yeah. Arteta in that black top over a white t-shirt with his impossibly black hair. And to be fair, suggestion of some product use, I think, there by Arteta. Just a bit. I'm waiting for Arteta's hair to start going grey, because he's certainly not going to lose that. He's got the most amount of hair I've ever seen, but that is going to go grey being a manager. Mark my words. Suggesting a product use and indeed of raging jealousy. If you ask Clive Tilsley alongside Trevor Sinclair here at Craven Cottage, where Arsenal lead by a goal to nil with almost 25 minutes played. I was just reminded, actually, when you were talking about Hector and how he looks, and Virgil van Dijk. He is sporting a style of hair that I once had when I had hair at QPR. He's got dreadlocks, but he's got it tied up in a bun. And yeah, there's a little bit of jealousy there. They first won the ball back with Gabriel, and they played a little bit of ticky-tacky around, got it out to Xhaka, good ball into Bellerin. He's seen the pass early. It was great movement, I have to say, from Lacazette, who was pulling away from Hector to the left-hand side, and as the ball was played, he stepped across Hector, and Hector caught him, and it's a free kick in a very dangerous situation. Free kick and a yellow card for Michael Hector. It is a dangerous situation, but it's very central, Trevor. There's no angle on the free kick for Arsenal, and it's literally 3 paces from the edge of the box. Is it too close? It can be. You might want to move it, you might want to go under the wall, you might want to strike it goalkeeper's side and hope that he takes a step the other way. There's loads of different possibilities that can happen here. Arsenal in all blue play from left to right as we look at it from our position in the listed Johnny Haynes stand. They're attacking the Hammersmith end of Craven Cottage, for those of you who know this ground, and all the options have been cleared for just one man standing over the ball, and that man on his Arsenal debut is Willian. He's already been denied an opening goal by a fabulous save. This is like, for a winger, you imagine crossing the ball over the wall. Willian in there to try to execute as instructed. Takes it well, and it comes back off the post. What a strike. Rodak did dive down to his right and maybe got a hand to it, but I've got the feeling that our view was rather masked by the wall, strangely, that it actually struck the goalpost rather than the keeper's hand. Either way, it was a near miss again for Willian. Open brackets, close brackets, question mark. I think it was the post, wasn't it? It sounded like it was a post. Great execute. I can't tell you how difficult that is from so close to get it up and down. Excellent effort, and I think the goalkeeper was beaten, if I'm being honest. Yeah, he got it past the right hand of the goalkeeper, and it just struck the goal post and came out. So, Fulham 0, Arsenal 1. Lacazette after 8 minutes, live on Game Day
on TalkSport. And to add to that goal, Arsenal now have a very near miss. Willian's free kick striking the right hand upright of Marek Rodek. Arsenal looking good. Odoi in possession for Fulham, midway inside his own half, up to Cabano on the halfway line. Now Onoma turning inside Arsenal territory. Tottenham Hotspur through and through. Josh Onoma looking forward to this fixture. Bryan now for Fulham, comes back to Kearney, midway inside the Arsenal half and on to Hector, edge of the centre circle, out to the right hand side where Cabano's control is a little bit loose and where Arsenal win a throw in midway inside their own half. This wonderful old stadium, it's such a step back in time when you come to Craven Cottage. We are sitting in the oldest remaining grandstand in English professional football, dates back to 1905, but the rest of Craven Cottage is under construction. It's like a building site on the far side, the river side. Lots of scaffolding and covers shielding our view from the construction work on that side of the stadium. The television cameras on a gantry, the commentators alongside. Line. Reed now going forward, played back though by Camera to Ream. Now Hector moves forward out to Odoi on the right hand side, but Arsenal, as they have done for much of Arteta's reign, looking pretty solid without the ball.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, you know, Gabriel, young player, I don't think he's great in possession, but in one-on-one situations he's a fantastic defender. You know, he's had a couple of situations with Kamara where he's ended up taking the ball off him. He's that good. Stays on his feet, waits for his opportunity, a little heavy touch or gets his body involved. Yeah, I've been impressed with his defending. Fulham
have had the ball now for 30-45 seconds but are unable to make any real progress. Now a good link on the right side between Cabano and Odoi, who plays it in. It's another very dangerous cross. Free kick has actually been given for Arsenal for a foul by a Camera as he tried to reach the cross on the right hand side, but that's two excellent crosses from the right hand side by Dennis Odoi.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant area. The goalkeeper doesn't want to get involved in that. It's right between the goalkeeper and the defenders. Probably for a throw in, it was almost going for a corner, but there was a free kick in there and the pressure's taken off. It's a cheap free kick to give away as well, that, in such a dangerous situation from Fulham.
Odoi has some defending to do though now as Arsenal come forward with Lacazette switching it out to the Arsenal right where Bellerin scurries forward and places it into the edge of the penalty area. Reed is there, comes back to Bellerin. Now Lacazette on the edge of the penalty area, lifted to Willian on the right hand side, just inside the Fulham box.
He's stood to the task, hasn't he? Joe Bryan, you know, he's been in one-on-one situations quite a few times with Willian, and he's getting his distance right. He's sharp enough to match him, and he's been quite successful stopping them crosses in from Willian.
Arsenal looking particularly dangerous down there right with Bellerin and Willian combining. Bellerin has now moved infield to collect the ball and play it square to Xhaka, forward to Aubameyang, who's just come off that left wing perch for a moment into the centre of the field, just limping a little at the moment. Aubameyang, as Arsenal continue to come forward with Willian. Now El Neni square to Xhaka, out to the left hand side, and Maitland-Niles continuing as a left wing back for Arsenal. Xhaka again square to El Neni, this time trying it out on the right hand side as Arsenal look at it coming forward with Willian. Heels on the touchline, comes infield, finds El Neni. Again the passes though are square and across the field. Out to the left hand side, Maitland-Niles slides it in, and Lacazette has got into the dead ball line here, but just couldn't quite catch up with the ball after a clever turn, allowed the ball to drift across his body and wrong foot Ream, but it just ran away from him. The pass was a good one from Maitland-Niles, but a little bit straight.
Yeah, great little bit of play there. They probed down the right, they recycled the ball, brought it across. It went into Maitland-Niles. A little bit of reverse movement from Lacazette. He stepped in towards it as if he wanted to feet, slipped down the side, and it just had a little bit too much power on the pass, and it ran out of play. But very dangerous situation, and that's the reason why teams like Arsenal, who are possession based, that's why they do probe and recycle the ball.
First of 3 exclusive live Premier League commentaries, this and every game day on TalkSport. It's Fulham 0, Arsenal 1. The latest odds are available on the Betfair Exchange, the official betting partner of TalkSport's Premier League coverage, where at the moment you can back Fulham to win at 13-1. There's a chance here as Arsenal come forward. It is tidied up by Ream. You can back Fulham at 13-1. You can back Arsenal to win at... haven't quite got that odd available at the moment. You can back the draw at 4-1 on. I'll give you that in just a moment. The Betfair Exchange, more ways to bet, more ways to win. You must be 18 or over, and do be aware of begambleaware.org for advice and guidance. Fulham 0, Arsenal 1. Premier League the Arsenal half of the field coming back to Reed. I just wonder whether one or two of the Fulham front men have got to take a further risk or two. They're retaining possession, coming back to the midfield, but it's all a little bit muted at the moment. Yeah, very neat and tidy, similar to Arsenal, but without that penetration. I think there's got to be a little bit of reverse movement. Players like that we've just seen there, Kamara trying to run in and probing behind centrally. I think that's what they've got to do more of, because if they do make them runs, there's going to be gaps appearing in front of them, and that's then for the midfielders to get into them gaps and start having the ball a bit further up the field. Fulham are just managing to retain possession after a rather loose pass, forces it back to Reed. Kearney out to the left hand side, and Brian. Here's Kearney again, out to Brian once more, rolled in to Camera just outside the box, but really good work by Willian tackling back. Rather caught Camera by surprise, ran him off the ball and regained possession for Arsenal. El Neni on towards Xhaka, up to the halfway line now, 1-0 Arsenal lead. Aubameyang on the ball 15 metres inside the Fulham half on the left hand side, comes back to Maitland-Niles, square to Holding. Bellerin is available wide of him, instead he plays it short forward to Willian, now out to Bellerin on the right hand side. Willian again, midway inside the Fulham half, comes back to El Neni. Arsenal comfortable in possession. Xhaka moving it out to the left hand side, trying to move the Fulham cover from one side to the other, first down the right and now down the left hand side with Kieran Tierney. Back to Xhaka again, always available. Gabriel on the halfway line, moves into Fulham territory briefly before playing it to Rob Holding. Square again to Gabriel. Xhaka looks up this time and plays a longer ball in towards Aubameyang. First touch is good inside the box, second touch is a left-footed shot on target, unable to defeat Rodak, who had the near post covered, but it was a smart change of pace that from the Arsenal attack. Yeah, good way to pass by Xhaka, good movement. Again, it's them little triggers when you're going probing, recycling. When someone gets a chance to get the head up like Xhaka did there, it's that timing, step in, spin behind, which Aubameyang did. Excellent movement, good first touch. The angle was going against him, but it's a nice tidy strike, on target, all match tempo, and it's a good save in the end. Arsenal have the lead through Lacazette, and they have a measure of control here at the moment. Poor control on this occasion from Maitland-Niles in an advanced position, and Fulham have it back, but forced back to the edge of their own penalty area. Hector plays it forward and plays it forward poorly. Onomah manages to retrieve the ball. I mentioned Tottenham through and through. Josh Onomah, 14 plus years, a Tottenham Hotspur player, actually was at Spurs at the same time as Scott Parker. It's taken some time for him to really find his feet here at Fulham, making his first Premier League start today. All his Tottenham appearances at this level were as a substitute. Just didn't quite happen for him in North London. Josh Onomah. Cross from the right-hand side is by Cabano and is charged down, and Tierney brings it away, and Fulham just unable to make any real inroads. They haven't had a clear sight of goal since a very poor defensive mix-up in the opening minute almost presented them with a chance. They haven't been able to create anything of their own.
Yeah, I've been impressed with Neeskens Cabano on that right-hand side for Fulham. He's good on the ball technically, he's looking after it, and when he gets his opportunities, he's had some really good opportunities where he's put great crosses into the box.
Birmingham 1, Brentford 0 is the latest score in the Championship. Jeremy Bella scored that goal for Birmingham City. There is live commentary of that match currently on TalkSport 2. It kicked off at the same time as we did here, 12:30. At St Andrews, it's Birmingham City 1, Brentford 0. Referee has yellow card out here for Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. A late, clumsy sort of challenge, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think he was trying to get the brakes on Clive, and he just couldn't get the brakes on quickly enough, and as the ball was passed, he's caught the right back, Adoy, and left a little bit on top of his foot.
So Adoy has a free kick to take on the halfway line, which he takes back, and it has been back and square mainly for Fulham. Forward ball played by Ream, and when it is forward it's poor and it's out of play. And that early goal, Alexandre Lacazette, opportunist goal after 8 minutes, has just taken some of the wind out of Fulham's sails here. So much anticipation coming in to the new season, and some of that has been rather stifled by that early Arsenal goal and by the fact that Fulham haven't really been able to respond to it as yet. Willian has hit a post for Arsenal too. He's on the ball now, guided out to the left-hand side and beautifully into the path of Maitland-Niles, who crosses into the box, but it's too long for Lacazette and runs out of play for a throw-in down by the corner flag to Fulham on their left.
Yeah, good play again by Arsenal. Had the ball on the right-hand side, switched it, big switch over to Maitland-Niles, took a touch, pretty simple football, took a touch, put the ball into the box. It's almost in that perfect spot. Lacazette just couldn't get in the end of it. Good defender, you've got to say, to cover that ball as well by, I think it was Ream. Just made sure he's seen it out, and there was no clear header for Lacazette on the far post.
It was a decent cross by the left foot of Ainsley Maitland-Niles, who is naturally right-footed and playing in, well, an unusual position, except that it's a position that he filled for Arsenal very successfully at the back end of last season. There's a lot of speculation that Wolverhampton Wanderers have made a concrete bid for him to play on their right. They've lost Matt Doherty to Spurs. He played on the England right, of course, for 5 minutes towards the end of the international in Denmark. I mean, could he be a lasting solution at left wing back, Maitland-Niles, or do you feel it's still an emergency measure?
Well, it depends how he equips himself. For me, he's played very well today. He's looked after the ball, he's looked comfortable. I myself went from the right wing to play on the left wing, and it's something that if you practice and get used to different situations, but on the opposite side, I think you can make it your own. And yeah, there's no reason why he can't, because you can't see him getting in on the right in front of Bellerin. So the only opportunity for him to play would be on the left, and if he takes that and grasps that situation, I feel he could make it his own.
Man of the match in the Community Shield against Mo Salah on that side of the field, and he was rather overlooked by Mikel Arteta for much of his early time in charge of Arsenal. He has got into the side very belatedly either side of this latest break, and made his way not just into the Arsenal reckoning but into the England reckoning too. I think that performance in the FA Cup final could have changed Arteta's mind about him, because he did play so well, and against one of the best players, Salah. Crossed by Kearney into the Arsenal box, headed away by Tierney. 1-0 Arsenal lead. Lacazette's early goal. El Neni on the ball for Arsenal midway inside his own half. They've dealt with the Fulham threat pretty comfortably so far, but El Neni has lost possession here inside his own half of the field. Harrison Reed brings it forward. He's red hair prominent in that crowded area in the centre of the field, played out to Odoi on the right hand side, and he tries an early forward pass which is blocked by Aubameyang covering back, and Fulham have a throw in. Reed is back on the ball, just missed his kick initially but was able to retain possession, goes back to Hector, forward towards Onoma, whose touch rather lets him down. Good ball forward that by Hector, but Onoma didn't make the most of it, and Fulham are forced back to their goalkeeper Marek Rodak.
And I think that's where you're looking at the quality. You know, it's a 30-40 yard pass into Odoi. He's got to get hold of that ball, he's got to make it his own, keep hold of possession and build from there, and his touch is a little bit heavy, and straight away Arsenal pick the pockets.
Forward by Brian into the Arsenal box, but nobody on the end of it. Fulham 0, Arsenal 1. The first goal of the Premier League season scored by Alexandre Lacazette for Arsenal after 8 minutes here. First goal of the last Premier League season was scored by Liverpool. Didn't do them any harm, did it? It was actually scored by a Norwich City player, so it rather cast the die for both clubs on opening night more than a year ago. But the first goal of the 29th season of the FA Premier League has been scored here in West London by Alexandre Lacazette. It's Fulham 0, Arsenal 1. In possession for Arsenal, their debutant Gabriel, square to Rob Holding, midway inside his own half, but unchallenged. The Arsenal back three are able just to ferry the ball about there. They almost drop into a 4 when they're in possession. Tierney moves very wide out to that left-hand side, and Maitland-Niles goes further forward. It is a tactical arrangement which is now rather more familiar to Arsenal fans, and something that Mikel Arteta has introduced after last season just seemed full of different changes of system, changes of captain, changes of manager.
They do it well though. I think it's a lateral thing. If they're going down the right, yeah, Bellerin will join in, and naturally the left-sided central defender Tierney will come across, and they've done it really well. It takes time on the training ground, but obviously Arteta's put that work into the players, and they're executing it really well at Arsenal.
Cabano coming forward for Fulham on the right hand side, held up by Aubameyang, who actually mistimed that challenge. He's going to have to watch his step. Tierney came across with a challenge, seemed to get it cleanly enough, but the assistant on the far side was very close to the incident, and Daniel Cook has indicated to Chris Kavanagh there was something untoward there, and he's given a free kick to Fulham, which is as good as a corner. It's right down by the corner flag on their right hand side.
Yeah, Cabano's been their biggest threat down that right hand side. I feel he's a decent success again there, just winning a free kick against Kieran Tierney. Good work.
I think it's one that Arsenal might contest if anything comes of it. Wasn't a lot of contact by Tierney on Cabano. Cabano himself will take this free kick. It's about 2 paces from the corner flag and right on the dead ball line. Short corner they call it in hockey, don't they? Cabano will take it, guided into the near post, but headed away very strongly by Gabriel. That was good decisive defending by the Brazilian. Ream out to the left hand side. Camera now running at the right side of the Arsenal defence, trying to guide it across the face of the penalty area. It came off Lacazette, and Fulham have a rather fortunate corner on their left hand side.
It's almost like a basketball player when a defender's defending the basket, and a player goes up to take a slam dunk, and he gets up there and just blocks it. I thought that was excellent play by Gabriel. Timed his run to defend that ball superbly well and cleared it well.
Fulham corner just by the players' entrance down in the corner of Craven Cottage, underneath the cottage itself, from the left hand side, which Kearney will take at the Putney end of the ground. Guided in towards the head of Hector, headed away by Holding this time, but a referee's whistle. I think he was going to give a free kick anyway. He's now decided that that is the last action of a very impressive first half for Arsenal. They had the boost of an early goal, a little bit of fortune in the way that the ball ricocheted around the penalty area, but Lacazette was on hand to poach the opening goal after 8 minutes, and Arsenal have had control of things pretty much since then. Willian has hit a post with a free kick. We're looking at Mikel Arteta walking across from the far side, across the pitch now, just composing his thoughts at half-time. But at the break, it's Scott Parker who's got a little bit more thinking and talking to do, because it's Fulham 0, Arsenal 1.
Thank you very much, Clive. Yes, as you say, the players disappearing down the tunnel, which is to our corner here. The players just walking across the pitch now. Trevor, as Clive said, it was a sort of fortuitous goal, but Arsenal have been very much in control.
You say that. What do you think the possession was? Yes.
Oh, you tell me, actually.
Well, it was 52% to Arsenal, so it's been quite equal in possession, and I think that kind of typifies the way that both teams have played. They've looked after the ball, they've looked neat and tidy. The only difference is there's a lot more penetration from the Arsenal front three. They've lacked that. You know, there's no penetration. I think they've lacked creativity in that forward role. I'd be surprised if Tom Kearney doesn't play in a more forward role, because at the moment they don't look like they're going to unlock this Arsenal defence. Onamar has not really offered any kind of penetration in there or any kind of guile to create opportunities. I think the best opportunities have come from the right hand side, where for me Cabano has done really well. You know, he's had the beating of Maitland-Niles a few times. He's put some really wicked crosses in. He had the volley on the far post and he's looked quite threatening, but apart from him and the early back pass from Maitland-Niles where it was a good save by Leno, they've not really created any clear-cut chances, so they need to improve on that if they're going to get anything out of the game, because they're losing 1-0. And Arsenal have looked sharp, they've looked after the ball, and I feel going forward, you know, it's them triggers, when to run in behind, when to have a little bit of ticky-tacky or a little 1-2. Arsenal have looked really dangerous going forward, and as we expected, they're leading at half-time.
And they've got obviously more experience of that at this high level. What do you think Scotty Parker's going to do at half-time? Because with the players on the pitch, if he's not getting the results right now, do you see changes? Well,
I do feel like Tom Kearney's, I wouldn't say wasted, because he's playing an important role for the team to keep possession. He always gets on that angle to make sure he can receive the ball, gets in passing lines where he can receive it. His spatial awareness is brilliant, so he knows what's around him. He doesn't get caught in possession, and I'm sure his passing accuracy is very high. But for me, they need him further forward, because he has got that vision, he has got that creativity to create opportunities for his teammates, and he can nib him with a goal or two as well. So I'd like to see him go further forward, so that maybe a change in there. But apart from that, I thought Joe Bryan's done really well against Willian and in one-on-one scenarios. He's defended them situations out wide very well to stop crosses coming into the box. Standout defender though on the pitch for me is Gabriel. You know, in possession, been okay, but one-on-one situation, defending aerially, looks like he's so commanding in there, and everything seems like it's a magnet to his head, and he's defended really well for Arsenal. So at 22 years old, he's looking like a real good buy.
Yeah, I was going to say it's still very young, and you know, certainly the Arsenal fans will be very much looking forward to that. Let's recap some scores in the Sky Bet Championship, shall we? Birmingham 1-0 against Brentford, so Brentford are trailing there at Birmingham. And in the other 12:30 kickoff, Wickham playing their first game in the Championship. Of course, they're at home to Rotherham. It's goalless at half-time. We're going to take you to a break and we're back next.
Game day exclusive on TalkSport with a Now TV Sky Sports Pass. The only place to watch Liverpool versus Leeds live today for just $9.99. Search Now TV. 18 plus. Stream via internet. Terms apply.
Finding your perfect new home can be tough. So if you keep missing out,
it's time to search On the Market.
There are thousands of new properties to buy or rent every month at onthemarket.com. 24 hours or more before they're on Rightmove or Zoopla.
On the Market.
See them first. Set up a
Head to thesun.co.uk/football for all the fallout following another massive weekend of football in the Premier League and beyond. The hottest news, essential views, live blogs and the biggest opinions in the game from the biggest names in the game, including Alan Shearer, Danny Higginbottom and Alex Scott. And with a reporter at every game across the country, thesun.co.uk/football has all the football news you need. The Sun. We live it.
We've got it at Selco. Selco, it's where the trade goes.
At Selco Builders Warehouse, we've got real deals on a wide range of trade quality building products. In September, we've got 100mm thermalite blocks for just 99p each ex-VAT. Now that's a real deal. Find even more real deals at Selco Builders Warehouse and online at selcobw.com. Selco, serving the trade for 125 years.
We've got it at Selco. Selco, it's where the trade goes.
That charged at 20%.
Did somebody say just eat?
Me, get delivery like a G. See? Hungry dogs gotta eat. I get mines every day, every week. Chicken wings to the crib, I'm sitting in. Burger in the low-low. Hope they put the pickle in. Wonton on a catamaran. Oodles and noodles. Thank you, my man. J-U-S-T-E-A-T.
Somebody say, just eat.
Critics are saying Disney's Mulan is spectacular.
There have been many tales of the great Mulan.
It's revolutionary.
The loyal, the brave, the true.
A gorgeous, exhilarating experience.
It is my duty to protect my family.
Disney's Mulan, now streaming.
It will bring honor to us all.
Premier access to Mulan is exclusively available to Disney Plus subscribers for $19.99. Disney Plus subscription required. For more info, see DisneyPlus.com/MulanInfo.
TalkSport is turning up the football. It's coming back.
Game day today.
West Ham versus Newcastle United. Coverage from 7:30. Kick-off at 8 on TalkSport.
Official broadcast partner of the Premier League.
Welcome back to Game Day Live from Craven Cottage here. I'm Rashmin Chowdhury, and at half-time, Fulham back in the big time are trailing Arsenal by a goal to nil. Lacazette scoring goal after just 8. It's a big day here across the TalkSport network. At 5:30 we've got that huge game. Liverpool against Leeds, the champions of the Premier League against the champions of the Championship. That is with Sam Matterface and Sam Allardyce, who's joining the team this season. Over on TalkSport 2 right now, you can listen to Birmingham against Brentford. Half-time there, Birmingham 1, Brentford 0. At 3 o'clock it's QPR against Nottingham Forest on TalkSport 2 as well. From 2:30 though here on TalkSport it's Game Day Live. Adrian Durham, of course, back with the team. Crystal Palace against Southampton, that's where they will be. And we've got a late kick-off, of course, new edition, 8 o'clock. It's West Ham against Newcastle. So a huge day of football here across the TalkSport network. You will not miss a thing. Okay, let's get the latest from Betfair, shall we? The official betting partner of TalkSport's Premier League coverage.
Game day on TalkSport with Betfair. Place a £20 bet on the Premier League today and get a £20 free bet. Minimum odds 1.5. Free bet valid for 7 days. Excludes cash out. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Barry Orr, how's it looking? Well, what are we thinking for the second half of this one?
Hey Rashman, yeah, half-time betting in play on the Betfair exchange. Fulham 24-1 to go on and beat Arsenal and get all 3 points. The Arsenal currently 1.23, which is 2-9. The draw currently 6.6, which is 11-2. Trevor's same game multiple. He needs Arsenal to go on and win 2-1 because his same game multiple was Arsenal to win the game to be over 2.5 goals. So 3 goals, a 2-1 victory for Arsenal would suffice, and both teams to score. So Arsenal to concede one more, or Arsenal concede a goal to Fulham. So fingers crossed for that. There's no decent cash out offer yet, unfortunately, because it's not in a positive position, but we'll keep the faith. We won't panic
Get Mitrovic on. Get Mitrovic on.
Indeed. What about this evening's game, Barry? Massive one. I know everyone's been talking about it, well, since the fixtures were released. Liverpool against Leeds. What are we looking at for that one?
Yeah, no surprise, Rashman. Liverpool big odds on 1.33. That's 3-1 on to get their title defence off to a winning start. Leeds United currently a 10-1 chance. The draw currently 6.2, which is 5-1. Over 3.5 goals has been a popular bet there, Richmond. At
Fantastic, Barry. Thank you so much as always. Well, today you can bet £20 on today's Premier League and get a £20 free bet sportsbook exclusive. A minimum £20 sportsbook bet on EPL matches today, the 12th of September. The minimum odds at 1-2. Your free bet is valid for 7 days, awarded at bet settlement. That excludes cashed out bets. That odds update is all thanks to Betfair. Returns accurate as of 10 minutes ago. For verification, you can see betfair.com. Over 18s only. Conditions apply. BeGambleAware.org.
Game day on TalkSport with Betfair. Place a £20 bet on the Premier League today and get a £20 free bet. Minimum odds 1.5. Free bet valid for 7 days. Excludes cash out. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Yeah, as we were saying before, a huge day across the TalkSport network. Following us is Game Day Live. That is back on TalkSport at 2:30. Adrian Durham is live at Selhurst Park for Palace against Southampton. Adrian, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you enjoying it so far, being back?
Loving it being back, loving it. I'm sure it's not the same for some of our fans who are, of course, out there, at home and wishing they could be here. But it is a lovely atmosphere here at Fulham, amongst the press at least. And they sort of try to pump it up with the music, don't they? And what's it like over there at Palace?
Oh, it's beautiful. The other side of London, of course, the Saints players have arrived, Palace players have arrived, and just checking out the pitch, it is beautiful. The sun is shining brightly. It is a classic opening day scene right here at Selhurst Park. This is the only 3 o'clock kickoff in the Premier League. We're round the grounds in the Championship on the opening day as well, and of course all the goals from League 1, League 2 and in Scotland, where there's a full programme as well in the Scottish Premiership. So it's going to be a very busy one from 2:30 onwards, and of course the kickoffs from 3 o'clock onwards.
Yeah, of course. Now, amongst my friends and people who've asked me, I've sort of looked at Palace as one of those potentials maybe of going down. You've got an ageing side. Zaha wasn't quite on form last season. So what are you making of this game against Southampton, who have, done brilliantly? They've got Danny Ings in their midst, done brilliantly under Hasenhüttl. Is it just a straightforward Southampton win today?
Well, if they carry on from where they left off last season, yes, because they've got a couple of players now in the England setup, James Ward-Prowse and Danny Ings, so they were flying, weren't they? And any problems defensively, Hasenhüttl sorted them out after that result that shan't be mentioned again. But with Palace,
it keeps getting mentioned, doesn't it?
Well, with Palace, it's fascinating because on Drive this week, Goffey said he thought Palace were going down. I was quite shocked, and then he gave all the reasons, especially that form at the end of last season, and I thought he's got
after
a point.
The restart.
As he said it was announced, breaking news, Batshuayi signed on loan.
Yes. Do you know, that's exactly what happened to me as well.
But I mean,
is Batshuayi going to shine for them, do you think? Because he's, it's sort of patchy, isn't it? Wherever he goes, you never quite know what Batshuayi you're going to get.
No, that's right, and I think he did score a couple of goals for Belgium. If you set up the chances, he will finish them off. He's just that kind of striker. But it's if they get forward. Under Roy, they've been a bit more reserved, a bit more cautious. So I'm intrigued as to... Roy's come out and said he's surprised there's not more interest in Wilfried Zaha. Well, he didn't have a great season the way Palace were playing. He's brought in Easy, who is a fantastic talent. Let's see what Roy does with him, because I'm intrigued by that matchup. Roy's tactics, Easy's talent. Is it going to work at Crystal Palace? The tools are there. I think a lot is down to the manager's approach. So I think it's going to be a fascinating season for Crystal Palace. But I'm going to say this: they ain't going to win the title or finish top 4.
But would you put money on it? No, I'm joking. Fantastic. Okay, Liverpool and Leeds. What a big game. I mean, we've been talking about it. As I said, since the beginning of time, it feels like. But and you've already said you think Leeds will go down. So I presume you're thinking it's
I don't want them to go down.
Straight. No, I don't want them to go down.
I do not want them to go down.
Just to clear that up.
Exactly. Yeah, this isn't me desperate for them to go down. I've always said that if my club, the Posh, folded, then I would be a Leeds fan. There's a lot of history and reasons for that. I don't want them to go down. I just think they've been a little bit naive. Look what happened to Norwich last year. And I know that they've got Bielsa, but you can't just rely on a brilliant manager. You've got to have some good players who are up to the task as well. And I just think they might be a little bit short with Ben White going as well. A lot might depend on Rodrigo and how he slots in and fits in straight away. So I really thoroughly enjoyed doing the rivalry thing on the show earlier. It was a fascinating look back, I've got to say. And there is that big rivalry between those two northern powerhouses. So it's going to be a great game. Can't wait for the live commentary at 5:30. But you can only see Liverpool winning it. The only thing, it also made a great point in the week about Anfield isn't the same. Some teams are not bothered by no fans being in it in terms of how they play and their mentality. I think it makes a massive difference at Anfield for Liverpool. So that's going to be one little sort of side story as the season goes on as well.
Yeah, very interesting. And with Bielsa signing just a 1-year extension, were you surprised by that? Does that really show any sort of intent of how much further they want to go?
This is Bielsa. I mean, he only does things on his terms, doesn't he? I mean, this is the guy who...
Very true, and who can argue with him?
In his Leeds tracksuit shops at Morrison's, he didn't want to stay at a fancy hotel they put him up in. He wanted a cheap bedsit. He just does things the way he wants to do them. And it would have surprised me if he'd signed more than a 1-year deal. But in terms of Leeds' long-term strategy, it's not healthy, but the payoff is they get Bielsa. And I guarantee you, every single Leeds fan loves Bielsa.
Yeah, and I think every football fan in general loves Bielsa, don't they? I met him once actually at an event a few years ago. Very softly spoken. You wouldn't sort of think he was sort of that crazy character that he actually is. But there you go. Adrian Durham, thank you very, very much.
Cheers.
Good to talk to you. As always, Game Day Live is from 2:30, of course, following this game here at Craven Cottage. The players are heading back onto the pitch now from that tunnel position, which is to our left in the corner. We're in the Johnny Haynes stand. The players are walking out onto the pitch right now. I think, am I looking at Scott Parker? Yes, Scott Parker's heading out as well. So I can only say that play is about to resume. So let's hand you back to our commentary team, shall we? Trevor Sinclair and Clive Tilsley.
Yeah, when you take your wooden seat in this wonderful old stand, you can almost imagine Johnny Haynes running out to line up against, I don't know, Joe Baker in a Fulham Arsenal game this afternoon. So much has changed in our lives since the start of last season, but nothing really changes at Craven Cottage, and this is a listed building. It can't change, so it will always be here. London Calling is the soundtrack to the build up to the start of this second half, when Fulham were last in the Premier League 2 seasons ago. They lost all 10 London derbies. And if you like a stat, and I'm a commentator, I like a stat, listen to this one. Arsenal haven't lost a game in September for 5 years.
Wow.
Why would that be?
Well, I would say one of the reasons is because they tend not to win the first game of the season twice on the spin. The last time they did that was 2009-2010, so there's a stat for you.
24 games unbeaten in the month of September, Arsenal, and they've looked pretty unbeatable so far. Alexandre Lacazette's goal after 8 minutes certainly gave them the start that every team, every supporter of a team, every casual observer of a team is hoping for on the opening day of the season. But Arsenal have gone on from there and pretty much run the first half in the way that they wanted. Now playing from right to left in their change, all navy blue kit as we look on from the main stand. Fulham now attacking the Hammersmith end of this famous ground, and Arsenal again in possession inside their own half, and very calm possession with Gabriel finding Tierney. Tierney finding Gabriel just outside his own penalty area. Gabriel Magalhaes, to give him his full title, but Gabriel is how he will become known to Arsenal fans, and so far so good for the debutant from Lille. Aubameyang motoring forward down the left-hand side and sweeping past Hector towards the edge of the Fulham penalty area, plays it square across the box, and Ream managed to get in the way and clear his lines, but a very threatening run there from the Arsenal captain Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang.
Yeah, he opened his legs up there, just dropped his left shoulder and went past Hector like he wasn't there in the opposing half, and then he looked to just pull it back. I think it was Lacazette who pulled into that kind of penalty spot area, but it was a good block in the end by Ream, and he's cleared it out for a throw-in. But good play, and that's his marquee move, isn't it, Aubameyang? Going on the outside, popping in on the right-hand side, and then either getting a shot off or getting a cross in.
Long throw from Tierney in towards the near post, where Hector beats Gabriel to it. Maitland-Niles on the edge of the box plays it square. Bellerin, a lot of bodies between him and the target, goes wide out to the right, edge of the penalty area. It's Willian, well marshalled by Bryan, who forces him wide and eventually forces him to lose possession and control, and Fulham have a throw-in by the corner flag on the left-hand side. So a bright sunny afternoon in West London, quite a decent cloud cover, pretty close to the Heathrow flight path, and a jet just coasts above the stadium. You often see it on your approach to Heathrow when you're coming in from abroad, or as I remember it, so long since I've been abroad. Forward come Arsenal with a wonderful run by Holding, and here's Lacazette inside the box, and that's deflected behind for a corner. But there was an amazing piece of ball jugglery there by the towering figure of Rob Holding. It almost looked like he joined F2 for a moment there and was displaying his soccer skills.
Well, I think that's the sign of the times, you know, the football that we're in, and what's expected from players, from the technical ability. And he just juggled the ball about 4 or 5 times. He's having a little laugh about it now, and it was a good pass to Lacazette, who got the ball out of his feet and tried to get the shot and deflected for a corner, but great play from Rob Holding.
He's a good sit down after that. Here's William with the resulting corner into the near post, and Gabriel has headed it in and marked his debut with the second Arsenal goal, and it doesn't get much better for a player making his first appearance for a new club. £27 million worth of centre-back bought to improve Arsenal's defending. He has added to Arsenal's firepower and headed their second goal early in the second half.
Yeah, it's a fantastic ball in. The keeper don't get anywhere near it. He pulls off from probably standing on the goalkeeper to the edge of the 6-yard box. And I said it in the first, at half-time and in the first half, he's so commanding in the air. And he leaps well. No, Hector's nowhere near him. You know, it's a mismatch, even though they are about the same size. And downward header, and the goalkeeper can't keep it out. 2-0 to Arsenal, and this game almost looks done if it doesn't change anything soon.
Actually went through the legs of Marat Rodek, who was almost backpedaling on his goal line, trying to make his body big and keep the header out. But it was close range. I have to say, he didn't get much more than 12 inches off the ground on that occasion, Gabriel, and he did kind of slide a little bit off the side of his head. But no extra style marks when it comes to scoring goals, and that is a very important goal for Arsenal. It takes all of the heat off them and just not only doubles their money, but it really does strengthen their hold on the match. A goal at the start of each half from Alexandre Lacazette, and now from Gabriel Magalhaes has given Arsenal the 2-0 lead here on game day on TalkSport. Fulham 0, Arsenal.
It just makes you feel part of it now, and at least you're contributing, and fantastic start from the young man.
I think there was quite a bit of speculation that if Arsenal were to give a debut to a centre-back today, it might be their other new signing, William Saliba. He is not actually involved in the Matchday squad today. He's only 19 years of age. You've got to remember, signings from France haven't had any competition action for 6 months because the French season was suspended and not restarted after lockdown. Saliba was on loan to Saint Etienne from Arsenal last season, but it's Gabriel, who, as I said a little earlier, has only played 40 games in the French top flight and signed from Lille, and has grown after a hesitant start to the game to be one of the outstanding players in the match, and is now one of the scorers in the match. 2-0 Arsenal lead. Adoy coming forward for Fulham, and Cabano rather lost concentration and strayed beyond the last defender and was caught offside. Sian Marcielis was only about 2 paces away. As she raised her flag, it almost caught him in the head, and he looked up to realise that he'd been caught out and caught offside.
Yeah, I think Cabano was a bit frustrated there because he made a good run and Adoy didn't see it. He wanted the ball a lot earlier, and by the time the ball came, he was in an offside position, and you kind of hope that Adoy would have the experience there to think, right, he's in offside position, recycle the ball rather than just give the ball away, because that's what you're doing when you play a ball like that. So a little bit of naivety there from Adoy for me. He should have just recycled the ball and started again.
Ream for Fulham, who's had a good game. I want to see question marks about Tim Ream making his 200th appearance for Fulham today. He's 33 next month. He had a rather unhappy time in the Premier League last time around. I think a lot of Fulham fans felt that Scott Parker might strengthen in that particular area of the team. He has recruited a couple of defenders in the last 48 hours or so, neither of whom are involved today, Aina and Tete. Forward comes Onoma to Reed, and out to the left-hand side, and Bryan. The left-hand side of the field is Cavaliero, but again, Arsenal look very, very sound, solid, organised without the ball. Kearney now midway inside the Arsenal half, the blue wall facing him, and having to go square again, wide out to Bryan on the left-hand side, back into Reed. Hasn't been a great deal of invention about the Fulham midfielders yet. Kearney trying to force the issue just outside the box. Holding stands his ground, makes a challenge, forces Kearney wide, but he has managed to link with Onoma, gets it back. Now Bryan looking for a quick 1-2, but it's broken up well by El Neni, and Willian can bring the ball forward up to the halfway line. Counter-attack on here for Arsenal, but covering back is Ivan Cavaliero. We still do have the shadow of Alexander Mitrovic hanging over the game, in so much that he is among the Fulham substitutes, maybe not deemed fit to start today, but their leading goal scorer, their talisman, their player of the year last season, surely he will figure sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I think Kamara's had plenty of endeavour, and he's working hard for the team, but he just doesn't seem to have that kind of penetration where he's going to create something himself. His runs are mainly into the channels where it's not going to hurt Arsenal, and I think if Fulham do want to score a goal in this game, I think Knockout could be someone that could unlock Arsenal, but certainly Mitrovic, with his physical presence, with his movement, with his cleverness, that could be something that Scott Parker will look at to try and change this game, because at the moment it just looks like an Arsenal win unless they change it.
Camera is very quick and mobile. He's on the ball at the moment, having drawn out to the left-hand side, looking to exchange passes with Cavaliero, who is wrestled to the ground by Bellerin. That was an NFL block, and it's going to be a yellow card for Bellerin, and a free kick in a promising position to Fulham.
Yeah, it was a very poor challenge that. He knew he'd got beat on the run off the ball, a little 1-2. And fortunately he was outside the box, and he probably knew that as well, but it literally was a rugby challenge, and yellow card given, and rightly so by Kavanagh, the referee.
Talking of which, I did have my attention drawn during half time to a bit of a flare-up before the game between Dani Ceballos and Eddie Nketiah when they were warming up. Two of the Arsenal substitutes today got involved in a bit of a tiff, and then it got a little bit physical. It was nobody was ever going to get hurt in it, but they were making mental notes not to send Christmas cards to each other, that's for sure. Free kick to Fulham just outside the Arsenal penalty area. Bryan takes it. It's headed away though by Lacazette, helping out. Hit first time and low by Camera. It was a bit of a speculative effort. Needed somebody really to run in and try to get on the end of it, and they didn't.
Yeah, it was quite a good position as well, and I think because it had come from a set piece from the free kick that was played in earlier, there was plenty of bodies in the box. I would like to have seen a nice little cultured cross there, just helping it into an area where the lads could attack it in the box, but he went for the shot, always dragged it slightly wide, and Leno let it run.
Two lunchtime kickoffs in the Championship today too. Wycombe Wanderers 0, Rotherham United 0, and Birmingham City 1, Brentford 0 our latest scores. And you can hear live commentary of Birmingham versus Brentford on TalkSport 2 at this very moment. Jeremy Bella's goal after 37 minutes separating the two teams at St Andrews. Xhaka on the ball for Arsenal, who lead 2-0 here against Fulham. First of our three live Premier League commentaries on game day today. Arsenal coming forward with Willian, swept out to this left-hand side, and Aubameyang, a lovely chest control just inside the penalty area, and a fabulous goal by Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Another Arsenal goal for Aubameyang, another reason that Arsenal cannot do without him. 2 in the FA Cup final, 2 in the semi-final, 1 and a penalty in the Community Shield. 12 goals in his last 12 games for Arsenal. Unstoppable.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic goal. Very similar to one of the goals he scored at Wembley against Liverpool. Great build-up play from a goal kick it was, from that shot earlier. Leno was used a few times through the move. They managed to get it out, a little clip into Willian, a crossfield ball into Aubameyang, took the ball in his chest, took a couple of touches on his right hand side to settle himself, and what a finish that is. Like we said earlier, it's almost his marquee move. Driving into the box, get it out your feet on your right hand side and bend it in the top corner, and that is a fantastic goal.
I mean, he's almost caressing. We're watching replays of the execution of the shot. He's almost caressing it with the side of his foot. He's curling it, but the pace on it too.
It's a pass. It's like a whipped pass, Clive, and he obviously practices that a lot. And he's managed to master that particular skill, and he's using it to the best of his ability, and what a fine finish that was. But the build-up itself, it was great play, very competent playing out from the back, and again I think that's certainly a reflection of what Arteta has brought to this Arsenal side, especially from a goal kick. You've seen both centre halves down the edge of the 18-yard box.
Bellerin now with the cross, blocked by Ream.
Making the area as big as possible, and Fulham weren't committed enough. They went in 2s and 3s, didn't really get anywhere near the ball on that build-up, and it's ended up in the back of their net. Excellent goal by Arsenal, but questions need to be asked for Fulham. Are they going to press, or are they going to sit off? Because at the moment they're pressing in 1s and 2s, and it's not going to work.
They're in danger of being on the end of a hiding here. Absolutely. Which might just hurt beyond this afternoon as they try to settle into life back in the Premier League. And they've seen the standard there in that few moments of magic from Aubameyang. 73 goals in 112 appearances for Arsenal now. 2 of those here at Fulham on his only previous visit. He leaves his mark wherever he goes. Goals win games, games win trophies. Here's Tierney forward towards Maitland-Niles, making a run across the field. Aubameyang wins it back and just flicks it forward. Reed turns it away, but Fulham are looking a little concussed at the moment, struggling really to just sort themselves out and steady themselves after those 2 Arsenal goals in the space of 8 minutes at the start of this second half have carried them over the hills and far away. It's Fulham 0, Arsenal 3. Gabriel the score of the second of those goals, forward to Xhaka. Up now to Lacazette, the score of the first of them. Just run off the ball though by the tenacious Harrison Reed. He comes out to this left-hand side and Adoy midway inside his own half, looking for Onoma on the halfway line, but he's outnumbered and out-muscled, and Gabriel wins it again and plays it back to Maitland-Niles. Arsenal in consummate control.
Yeah, golfing class this game, and the worst thing is now Arsenal players are very confident, everyone wants the ball, and this could become very uncomfortable for Fulham very quickly.
Could get messy. Here's Gabriel.
Not until next summer.
Out to Holding. And square to El Neni. Edge of the centre circle. Comes square again. You're listening to Fulham 0, Arsenal 3 on TalkSport with Now TV. You can watch Liverpool versus Leeds United live today with a Now TV Sky Sports Day Pass for $9.99. Search Now TV for details. There's a crashing challenge there by Kearney, a yellow card challenge on Willian, which concedes a free kick. Card shown to the Fulham skipper Tom Kearney.
Industrial challenge that. Yeah. There was no way William was going to get through that challenge. No chance of getting the ball either.
Free kick taken too quickly for Chris Kavanagh's liking.
Looks like it's going to be a substitution as well.
Trevor Sinclair was just pointing to the far side. I thought he'd seen another plane. But in fact it's is it plane? No, it's Alexander Mitrovic, and he is stripped off and ready to come on. Thanks, boss. 3-0 down. Free kick to Arsenal is about 10 paces outside the penalty area, right of centre as they look at it, so it suits a left footer maybe. Willian has already hit a post from a free kick with his right foot. Xhaka is there as an option. It is Granit Xhaka and it's into the wall. Comes back out to Xhaka. To Tierney on the edge of the centre circle. Game day on TalkSport. It's Fulham 0, Arsenal 3. We are 17 minutes into the second half of the first of our 3 live Premier League commentaries. Liverpool versus Leeds United. What a prospect that is at tea time. Is the next live commentary come after we've been round the grounds with Adrian for the afternoon from 3. Well, Mitrovic is coming on as a straight swap for Abu Bakar. Camera up front. Difficult to know what the deal is with Mitrovic, but he did have hamstring problems at the end of last season. There's going to be another change with Neskins Cabano also going off. To interesting substitution this, because on will come Frank Anguissa, Andre Frank Zambo Anguissa, the Cameroon international midfield player who's just back from a successful year on loan to Villarreal in Spain. They did want to keep him. He was actually linked with Real Madrid at one stage, but he's been given a second chance here back at Fulham now by Scott Parker, and he's on. And so too is Mitrovic. Tierney is on the ball though for Arsenal. Square to Xhaka. On again to El Neni has had a night, been quietly effective once more. Bellerin on to Willian now. Cuts it back from the edge of the penalty area, but Caballero is there and they're going to run the ball out of trouble, then back into trouble because he couldn't find a teammate, and Willian has it back. El Neni again to Xhaka. Sunlit Craven Cottage, but really it's been a chilling start to life back in the Premier League for Fulham. They're being outclassed at the moment. Arsenal 3 to the good. Aubameyang low into the box, seeking out a late run into the box by Maitland-Niles. It was a clever idea which just didn't quite come off.
Yeah, good movement though by Maitland-Niles. You know, we know about the overrun going down the outside, overlapping. That's an underlap, and quite a good attempt to find that by Aubameyang, but just went through harmlessly to the goalkeeper. But again, been excellent Arsenal today. You know, there's a real gulf in class, and you know, there's got to be a few questions asked about this Fulham side now. Have they got the spirit to stay in this game? Can they try and get something out of it? Be interesting to see how this last half an hour pans out.
I'm looking at that when I get home. Underlap, it's not a word. I'm sorry.
A forward run then, Clive.
I'm not having that in Scrabble, sorry. Play against somebody else. Ream forward to Anguissa, just inside his own half, quickly onto the ball, over the halfway line. Positive run by the substitute, out to Brian on the left-hand side. Now Mitrovic getting his first involvement. It's strong involvement too. Plays it square to Kearney. Lofted out to the left-hand side where Joe Bryan is still forward in an attacking position. His touch though brings him infield to Anguissa once more. Here's Bryan again. Anguissa again. Fulham enjoying a little spell of possession at least, but they've been forced back to the halfway line. Ream comes out to the right-hand side and Adoy, and he can now scamper forward and play it out to the touchline where Caballero has switched from left to right. Holds off Maitland-Niles, holds off Lacazette, has to go back to Harrison Reed. Adoy on the right-hand touchline, blocked by Tierney. Fulham throw in 25 metres from the corner flag on their right-hand side. Fulham playing from left to right towards the Hammersmith end of Craven Cottage. On the ball with Kearney just outside the Arsenal penalty area. Comes back to Reed, square to Anguissa. Good strong run by him to the edge of the penalty area, halted by a sharp challenge from Tierney. Arsenal looking to break, but well seen by Ream, who intercepts. And now Kearney just outside the box onto his favoured left foot. On again by Onoma. Kearney again just lacked a little bit of decisiveness. Fulham just unable to find that little bit of imagination. Maybe they just need to take a bit more risk. Caballero long to the far post. We'll see more of that now. Mitrovic is on. Bryan has got the ball again. Back to Anguissa. Mitrovic again on the edge of the penalty area. Shot at goal is on goal, but is easily fielded by Bert Leno, and immediately the substitutes have done something for Fulham.
Massively. And you're talking about the gulf in class. I think these two players who've come on, Mitrovic, we already know he can score goals in the Premier League. He's had a few touches, just had a shot on target, looked really bright and sharp. And Anguissa, for me, looks a player. Already a few touches that he's had, little 1-2s, going and probing, looks really comfortable on both sides of his feet. I've been impressed, and it seems like it's just give this Fulham side a lift. The fact that these two players have been introduced, they seem to have a little bit more confidence. There's a little bit more zip about the passing, and maybe a little bit more belief.
Anguissa was one of those 12 players signed 2 summers ago when Fulham were last promoted. He made 22 appearances in the Premier League in that first season. He was injured for a spell in mid-season, never really quite established himself again after that. But you know, he's got some pedigree in the game. He's played in a Europa League final for Marseille, and he's certainly got some standing and some stature. He's a tall, imposing man.
Yeah, big man, but he's got great feet as well. You know, he wants the ball. Look at him, he looks like he wants to showcase what he's got and make sure I'm in the team next week. Scott Parker.
Fulham 0, Arsenal 3 is the score. Early goal by Alexandre Lacazette, and then 2 in 8 minutes early in the second half from Gabriel and Aubameyang put Arsenal firmly in control of the match. Anguissa forward to Kearney. Fulham almost having their best spell of the game in the last 5 minutes, but they haven't really created anything. Anguissa It's a searching ball forward towards Onama. I used the word risk a couple of minutes ago. I'm not sure there's been enough risk in Fulham's play so far. They haven't taken enough chances in order to create chances. They've conceded a free kick here just inside their own half in the field.
Intimidating looking guy. You know, with his dreadlocks, he looks like he wants the ball. He's not like suffering anyone here. He's not scared or anything. He wants to get on the ball. Out of possession, he's working hard for the team.
Andre, Frank, Zambo and Gisa. Frank to his mates, of whom I'm not one. No. Here's Holding out to the right-hand side, and Bellerin nicely into the path of El Neni coming forward. He's just joined play up very well, very quietly today. El Neni got his chance back in the team in the Community Shield. And he's kept out Dennis Ceballos today. Tierney to Aubameyang, Xhaka. Bellerin just lost his footing and it was headed on by Aubameyang, who was caught in an aerial duel by Kearney, and a free kick has been given to Arsenal. Even though Fulham were desperately looking forward to this big day, it's one that they almost kind of feel as if they won over with now. They've got probably the best part of a quarter of the game to go. You can't see a way back into the match for them, and it could just get worse.
Yeah, they've changed the shape. They've put two up top, Kamara and Mitrovic is up there. They look more threatening, but whether that's going to leave them wide open at the back, we will see.
Willian with this free kick, swept into the penalty area to the far side where Adoy makes a headed clearance. And as far as Xhaka just outside the box on the right hand side, high ball into the box, Lacazette with a header, is offside. And a free kick to Fulham just outside their own 6-yard box. Still to come on TalkSport today from 3 o'clock. Adrian Durham will be at Selhurst Park to take us around the grounds, updates and reports from all of the afternoon's action in all the divisions. And then just from after 5 o'clock, we're live at Anfield, exclusive live commentary of Liverpool versus Leeds United. And then just before 8 o'clock, live at the London Stadium for exclusive commentary of West Ham United versus Newcastle United. 10 hours plus of live action across the TalkSport network on game day this and every Saturday. Queen's Park Rangers Nottingham Forest, incidentally, is also exclusively live from the Championship on TalkSport 2 at 3 o'clock today. 3-0 Arsenal lead in the first of those commentaries here at Fulham. And not only does it have a bit of a training ground atmosphere inside Craven Cottage, it has that feel about it now as Aubameyang comes forward and Lacazette is there, stopped by the foot of Rodak. There's a flag up on the far side as Bellerin tries to score. Free kick is given for offside, but Fulham run done again there.
Yeah, excellent ball from Tierney. Good movement by Aubameyang. He came towards it like he wanted it to feet, and as Tierney got his head up, he spun in behind. It was a fantastic through ball. Got to the byline, pulled it back, and it's an excellent save, I have to say, by Rodak. Really close range. I'm just having a look at the replay now. Fantastic movement, just in behind, just stayed on side. Again, showing that quality. I don't know where the offside's come, because it's a pullback. How can that be offside?
The player on the line, I don't know who's down in a prostrate position anyway. It's not a day when Arsenal are going to worry too much about borderline decisions. They've got another free kick just outside the Fulham penalty area as Hector eases Aubameyang off the ball illegally. It's out on the left hand side, about 3 paces from the dead ball line, about 3 paces from the edge of the penalty area. More problems for Fulham.
Yeah, he's got a little bit too much pace for Hector Aubameyang when he runs at him. He knocked the ball past him, so there was no chance of a tackle, and Hector kind of industrially just shoved him out the way. Cheap free kick, and it's a dangerous position now for Arsenal down the left hand side.
Willian is standing over the ball on the left hand side. This free kick, Tierney is also there to offer the left footed option. Gabriel is forward, as indeed is Holding. It's played low by Willian and hit by Xhaka into the crowd. Miss hit, it has to be said, by Xhaka. Then a sharp pass out to Bellerin on the right hand side to keep the attack alive for Arsenal. Back to Xhaka once more under pressure from Mitrovic. Manages to smuggle it back out to Bellerin on the right hand side. Now Arsenal have got a little bit more space to play with, and it comes square from Holding to Tierney and on to Willian midway inside the Fulham half of the field, infield to Aubameyang. Willian once more has got options right and left, uses Xhaka to his right, and now on to El Neni and out to Bellerin on the right hand side. Aubameyang showing for the ball again just outside the penalty area. Arsenal just knocking it around, Fulham doing all the chasing into Lacazette with his back to goal just outside the box. Can't quite control it under some pretty muscular pressure. Some afters there between Hector and Xhaka, who is down on the ground after a tangle, holding his right ankle, and seems to be in some discomfort. I don't know whether something happened after Hector had made the challenge there.
No, I think it was a fair challenge, and I think both players kind of just tangled up within each other. Oh yeah, he's made the initial challenge with his left foot on Xhaka's left foot, but he's kind of fell onto him, and Xhaka's right ankle has gone the other way, and I think that'll be ligament damage.
Yeah, it's the standing foot, isn't it? The standing foot has twisted in the turf as it was caught, and because of the contact, he couldn't move it off the ground, and it just got stuck for half a second and twisted.
That could be so, that.
And he's still down and receiving some treatment as Mikel Arteta takes the opportunity to pass on some more wisdom to a couple of players that he's called over to him on that side. Arteta and Parker actually played against each other in the Premier League, played against each other a dozen times, including 3 North London derbies. Arteta leads 5-3 on their previous midfield.
Great knowledge and prep, I have to say there, Clive.
Well, both look lean enough to get it on again, to be honest. I'm sure they are demons in the five-a-sides, and every player hates a manager who's as good as they are in the five-a-sides. You must have had one or two, particularly you.
Ray Wilkins was unreal when he got involved, when he was manager. He'd not long retired from playing, but he was unreal in five-a-sides, full stop. And it was always nice to leave a little bit on him when you got a chance. God bless him.
Arsenal and the game back in motion. I think Scott Parker is the personification of the qualities that Fulham will require in the months ahead. First came here 7 years ago from Spurs, became the club captain, always a leader. When he returned as a coach, he became the caretaker manager, then given the job full time on the very eve of relegation, in recognition of the backbone that he'd repaired and restored here. But there's a little bit more work to do now that they've stepped up a class. He was asked yesterday what they needed to do differently this time to last. His words were "wise up," and he is a streetwise football man, and this team have looked just a little naive, maybe even a little starstruck at times so far this afternoon. It's all been a little bit too much for them. Kearney on the ball though for Fulham, out to Caballero on the right hand side, coming forward just outside the Arsenal penalty area. Mitrovic has drawn wide to the right hand side, he crosses it into the box, and Gabriel did miss that one, and it was almost an opportunity for Anguissa. Rolled Tenley away for a goal kick.
Great play from the centre forward though, just coming away from all them central defenders that Arsenal have got, standing out wide, ended up getting the ball, and it's a wicked cross right in that corridor of uncertainty, but unfortunately Anguissa just didn't take that gamble and really go for it to get in at the far post. Everyone missed it, and it went out for a goal kick.
2 substitutes almost combining. Mitrovic did play last week for Serbia against Russia, whether that's where he felt the hamstring problem again, but top scorer in the Championship last season, part of the PFA Team of the Year in the Championship. You would think he would have been an automatic selection. Aubameyang feeding off Bellerin, is going round the goalkeeper, has got another chance, and it's headed off the line spectacularly by Hector, or Arsenal would have scored again. That was all that stood between Aubameyang and his second goal, and Arsenal and their fourth. Good goal line clearance from Michael Hector.
Yeah, the line for Fulham is not great. Too many players on different lines, and Aubameyang's taken advantage of that. He made a good run. It's a simple ball by Bellerin, and he took it round the keeper, and it's a good goal line clearance, but all far too easy for Arsenal.
corner to Arsenal. Swung into the near post, headed on by Lacazette, but it loops off Lacazette's head and beyond Aubameyang and the far post, and away for a goal kick. An Arsenal change on the way. Granit Xhaka, who was caught by that unfortunate challenge, will give way to Dani Ceballos.
I've got to say, Ceballos is not a player you want coming onto the pitch if you're a Fulham player. He loves getting on the ball, he loves disguising his passing. You know, he'll enjoy this situation. It's nice and sunny. Not saying he can't, you know, dig in during the winter, but this is perfect for him. He'd love to get on the ball and start dictating things and pulling the strings for Arsenal.
And Nicola Pepe has also come on for Arsenal in place of Willian. So Pepe and Ceballos freshening up the Arsenal lineup as if they needed 3-0. They lead here on game day on TalkSport. Lacazette early in the match, Gabriel and then Aubameyang early in the second half.
Excellent play there by Mitrovic early in that foul. You know, he's shown really good strength, understanding when he needed to fight for it, and he's won his team a free kick about 40 yards out. But again, set piece, this is where they should be looking to try and get back in this game.
Brian will take the free kick for Fulham. Entire field bathed in sunshine now. Referee just sorting out a little bit of holding and shoving and pushing on the edge of the penalty area. Mitrovic involved, surprise, surprise. Brian will loft it in towards Mitrovic. It's headed pretty comfortably clear though by Tierney. Anguissa gets it back. Reed goes back to the halfway line, and Ream now to Anguissa once more. Rolled into Bobby Reed, who's come on also, and that's turned away by Holding. Reed gets it back now from Doy. Square to Anguissa, who turns into some open space midway inside the Arsenal half, goes square to Joe Bryan. But again, the move loses a little bit of its momentum as Arsenal regroup and force Fulham back to the halfway line. Doy coming forward, cut out by Maitland-Niles. Now El Neni. Fulham 0, Arsenal 3. The latest odds are available on the Betfair Exchange, the official betting partner of TalkSport's Premier League coverage. If you think Alexander Mitrovic will score the next goal, you can back that at 18-1, and that's available. The Betfair Exchange, more ways to bet, more ways to win. You must be 18 or over, and do be aware of begambleaware.org. Mitrovic is not moving all that freely, but I'm not sure he ever does really.
He's not an elegant player, is he?
He's almost from a different era in many ways, perhaps even a different century. But he is so effective and so talismanic for the club. And you feel, I don't know, you're guessing, how many goals will he have to score this season for Fulham to stay in the Premier League? 15?
Yeah, maybe. Something around there. I think I'd like to see Anguissa start playing games and starting games. For me, he looks a class act. Looks like he can handle the Premier League and the standards and the qualities that are needed to play in this division.
Bobby Reed, incidentally, has replaced Josh Onoma. We are on the main stand side of the Johnny Haynes stand side, Stevenage Road side of Craven Cottage, for those of you who know this stadium. All the substitutes, managers and coaches are over on the far side on the riverside, and so the substitutes occasionally sort of sneaked on almost without us noticing. And Bobby Reed did just appear a couple of minutes ago, and a stoppage in play, and it can confirm it is Onoma who he's given way to. Tierney back to Gabriel midway inside his own half, out to the right hand side. Fulham 0, Arsenal 3. Holding forward to Bellerin just inside the Fulham half of the field. Lacazette holding play up well and being upended by Hector, who's going to have to watch his step. He does have a yellow card to his name. Lacazette has actually burrowed away there. He's not a lone front man, because he's got support from Aubameyang, latterly from Willian, now from Pepe, but he does get isolated 10-15 metres away from people at times, and asked to take on the two central defenders and be physical and try to provide a starting point for attacks.
He's very cute though. He's a very intelligent player for me. You know, the way he uses his body, his first touch, his ball manipulation. He wins a lot of fouls for Arsenal. His movement's good. He's got his goal. It's pretty much everything apart from aerially. He's not been great. He's against what would you say Hector is? 6'4".
He is 6'4", yeah.
And Reed's not much shorter, maybe 6'1", 6'2". So you've got two huge guys against him. But I think he's fought his corner well, and he's been very, very effective for Arsenal today.
And he scored the first goal of the new Premier League season at 12:38 local time today to give Arsenal the perfect start. Gabriel and Aubameyang have added to it. Arsenal lead by 3-0 and are relatively untroubled. Ceballos out to the right hand side, and Bellerin just inside his own half of the field comes back to Ceballos, always trying to move the play forward, searching ball out to the left hand side, which almost ushers Tierney forward. Maitland-Niles takes over and goes back to Holding. No Premier League team had more draws than Arsenal last season, 14. That's obviously the first job, to convert a few more of those 1-pointers into 3-pointers into the box. You can say fine margins, you can say lack of killer instinct when you're trying to analyse how many times they drew games. Coming forward again here with a low cross into the near post, which Lacazette couldn't quite reach. Out as far as Ceballos, tried to flick it to the far post, but over the head of Aubameyang, and it's cleared downfield by Caballero. Won back though by El Neni. Again, Arsenal very effective in the way that they win the ball back, and Pepe's on the ball just outside the box into the near post, and he actually had a shot which was either kept out at the near post by keeper or by post. The angle was all against Pepe. Was an audacious attempt to score, pretty much impossible, and he couldn't squeeze it in. Still 3-0.
Incredible play earlier by Ceballos. I think he nutmegged the player, got to the byline, looked like he was going to cross it, back-heeled it back to one of his teammates, a cross went in, and it was a great opportunity for Arsenal. But again, he's such a clever player, disguised passes, you know, getting the ball, like you mentioned, Clive, always looking to play forward, and he'll be really enjoying this little substitute cameo appearance.
Bobby Reed trying to put Holding under pressure and winning a corner on the far side. You know, for all their trials and tribulations and ups and downs last season, Arsenal were beaten by more than the odd goal by only 3 teams: Liverpool, Manchester City and Leicester. They were the only 3 teams that beat Arsenal by 2 goals or more. So they will look back on all of those results, all the disappointing draws, all of the defeats like the one at Villa at the end of the season, and wonder what might be if they can just turn a few of those around. They've got a corner to defend here on the Fulham left, which Brian will take into the near post, headed away very solidly again by Gabriel, who looks the part.
Absolutely, he has been a rock. You know, he's read every situation so well and just uses it by clearing the ball. When it needs clearing, it's like a proper defender. When it needs clearing, you just clear it. And when it's time to play, and it's quite obvious when it's time to leave. His decision making, for me, for his debut, for a young 22-year-old, has been exceptional.
Elie Nketiah for Alexander Lacazette is the latest Arsenal change with 4 minutes to play. So Nketiah and Ceballos, who were involved in that
embarrassment of
pre-match dust-up, where they kind of fell out with each other fairly publicly, are now on the field together.
I know who my money's on. Nketiah's a demon on the pitch.
Edge of the penalty area, the Arsenal penalty area. It's Mitrovic fighting his corners. He does, but he's outnumbered, and Holding sweeps it away. Nketiah holds it up. The England under-21 coach, Eddie Boothroyd, was saying that he took a bit of a kicking in the international last week, and I was looking up his height, actually, Eddie Nketiah. I suppose it might have been the question mark as to whether he has enough physical presence to play that role, that central role for Arsenal in their continuity play. We know all about his goal scoring. One source put him at 5'11", another put him at 5'9". Maybe he's growing quickly.
Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, he knows where the back of the net is. He scored a hat-trick, didn't he, for the 21s?
He scored 4 times last week for the 21s, yeah.
And he's absolutely fantastic, and I think you need this in today's game, out of possession as a lone striker. He's excellent at that, the way he presses, he goes with real commitment and tries to win the ball back. And obviously he's learning all the time. He's still a very young player, and I mean, look at the players they've brought on. You know, Ceballos, Pepe, Nketiah, the quality they're bringing onto the pitch just shows the embarrassment of riches that Arteta's got at his disposal.
Their next game is against West Ham United at the Emirates next Saturday. But then listen to their next Premier League opponents after that: Liverpool, Sheffield United, Manchester City, Leicester, Manchester United. That's the fixture run they've got September, October, with some Europa League games thrown in, and they'll be hoping for some kind of run in the Carabao Cup too.
More of a test, I think, for Gabriel in them games, so we'll be able to get a better look at what his standard is and where his levels are in that run of games, rather than this game. No disrespect to Fulham, it's been very comfortable for the young man.
Well, reading out lists, I'm going to give you a list now of Arsenal players who are not involved at all today. Martinez, who looks like he might be leaving the club. David Luiz, who's injured. Cedric Suarez is not involved today. Saliba, the new centre-back, is not involved today. Smith Rowe's injured. Nelson's not involved today. Socrates, Torreira, Ozil, Guendouzi, not involved today. Martinelli still injured. Pablo Mari still injured. Chambers still injured. Mustafi still injured. Who's paying the wage bill?
Thankfully not me,
because they still get paid when they're injured.
Wow,
Mesut Ozil gets paid even when he's nowhere to be seen. So they're going to have to cut those numbers at some stage.
Absolutely.
Maitland-Niles into Aubameyang, score of the third Arsenal goal today. 3-0 they lead, and still they're being linked with the likes of Thomas at Atletico. Bobby Reed going for a long-range effort.
Yeah, good idea.
Mishit it.
Ball just broke to him about 10 yards inside the Arsenal half. Goalkeeper Leno was off his line. He's seen it early, just couldn't execute the finish.
But I think Mikel Arteta has always given the impression he can handle this job. It hasn't been an uninterrupted upward curve since he returned at Christmas. Pepe attacking the edge of the Fulham penalty area. But there's evidence of work still to do, but the Arsenal centre is not so soft now. There's a clearer picture of who's in and who's out, and the shape is taking shape.
The biggest thing I've been impressed with is how they can now play out from the back, because they've tried many times prior to Arteta coming, and I always felt like you could get at Arsenal and you could press. Now you press it, unless you're unbelievable at the press, they're going to play through you, and that's where one of the goals came from.
And at 2:30 on the opening day of the season, Arsenal are going to be 3 points clear at the top of the league. Who can catch them? One or two have got a game in hand, I think, in fairness, but 3-0 they lead. Arsenal fans will be scurrying onto their favourite search engine to get a snapshot of the league table as it stands at 2:30 this afternoon. Catch us if you can. They've been in control of this game, certainly since Gabriel and Aubameyang scored early in this second half, probably since Lacazette scored early in the first half. It's difficult to think back of a chance that Fulham have created they'll feel as if they should have taken today. Not one. Hector forward to Kenny on the edge of the centre circle. Bobby Reed just lets the ball roll away from him, and Holding is able to make a challenge. Kenny turns and does well to retain possession for Caballero. They have got 1 or 2 new signings to come in, and they will be eased in one by one. Mario Lemina has joined the club. Anthony Robinson, promising left back from Wigan. Aina and Kenny Tete have joined in the last few hours, really, last 48 hours. Brian in towards Mitrovic on the edge of the penalty area, and he has fouled Gabriel.
Dark arts.
Conceded a free kick. Stoppage time at the end of the first Premier League game of the season, and Arsenal roaring to victory, and Fulham just underlining how difficult it is for the teams that come into the Premier League via the playoff final to establish themselves at this level of the game. They need those fans inside, or some fans inside Craven Cottage, to give them some vocal support as soon as possible. Fulham have a Carabao Cup game at Ipswich on Wednesday, then they're at Leeds next weekend. At least a familiar trip for them from their battles in the Championship last season.
Just a little bit everything in front of Arsenal, you know, when they play these neat little patterns of play and they keep the ball, nice touches of the ball, but they're not penetrating, there's no movement. I think that's the main thing. You don't expect a player to get the ball and take 2 or 3 players on and get wrong side, and I feel unless they're going to start running in behind and making them runs, it's going to be very difficult for Fulham this season. It's
the last action of a very, very impressive start to the new season for Arsenal, of a very sobering start to the new Premier League campaign for Fulham, who didn't really land a blow on their opponents at any stage of this sunlit afternoon by the Thames in West London. Alexandre Lacazette gave Arsenal the early lead after 8 minutes. They were in charge of the match from that point onwards. Willian hit a post in the first half, and then 2 goals in the space of less than 10 minutes early in the second half.